Another loss for the Toronto Blue Jays, but another tight game against a really good ball club in the Boston Red Sox. Jays lose 10-8 to the Boston Red Sox. Now, ideally for most of this game, it was quite out of reach, but the Blue Jays did not quit. They kept fighting, they kept grinding, but unfortunately ended up losing by 2, like we said, to the Boston Red Sox. Now, the story of the ball game was Trent Thornton having an awful outing. You know, he wasn't getting swing and miss stuff. He wasn't getting guys swinging and missing at his pitches just out of the strike zone. He wasn't getting the calls just out of the strike zone. No, they were off. They weren't strikes. I'm not going to say they were, and they should have been called. They were not strikes. They weren't offering, and he had troubles. In the very first inning, he ran into some really big issues. You know, I think he walked 3 guys in an inning and a third, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, including the big blow, which was the grand slam from Michael Chavis. Walks kill you in a ball game. Now, not just Trent Thornton, however. The Blue Jays, as a team, had 8 walks in the game. You give a team like the Boston Red Sox, a very good offensive ball club, this many extra opportunities, they are going to kill you. And that is what they did today. You know? Trent Thornton walked 2 guys to load the bases there in the first inning. Then he gave up the RBI single. Bases still loaded. And then he gives up the grand slam. It's all set up by the walks. It kills them. And that's what we saw early on. They scored 5 runs in the very first inning, and just like that, the Jays are down 5-0. Meanwhile, Rowdy Tellez gets sent down to the minor leagues. He's had a lot of swing and miss, a lot of chasing pitches. He just has not looked very good at the plate over the last little while. So he gets sent down to AAA Buffalo. Who comes up? Billy McKinney. And as we saw the last time he got sent down, the moment he gets brought back up, he goes deep. In his first at-bat, it's a 2-run shot to center field, scoring Danny Jansen, and they cut the lead from 5-0 down to 5-2, and we're like, all right, the Blue Jays are climbing right back in this. And then you go to the 3rd inning, and Freddie Galvis singles to lead off the inning, then Gurriel Jr. lines out, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit here. And Kevin Biggio singles to right field. Hey, tying runs now at the plate in Randall Grichuk, and Grichuk doubles to left field. Galvis comes in to score, Biggio up to 3rd, and we have runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 out for Justin Smoke, and he hits an RBI ground out to Xander Bogaerts at short, brings home another run, and it's 5-4, just like that, and rolling the 3rd inning. But then Sam Gaviglio runs into some problems in the bottom half of that 3rd inning. He gives up a 2-run single to Rafael Devers. He gives up an RBI single to Xander Bogaerts. He gives up a 2-run single to Andrew Benintendi. And just like that, the lead went from 5-4 to 10-4 over and out. The game went from in reach and real close to pretty much let's go home. But the Blue Jays were not done. I mean, it took them a while to get their offense going once again. But we go to the top of the 8th. And, 10-4, 8th inning, they throw Ryan Brazier, who's been pretty good for them. But, I mean, the Blue Jays aren't looking to do anything special here, right? And Randall Grichuk, it's a ground out to lead off the inning. Then Justin Smoke, it's a ground rule double to right field. It's great to see Smokey get on the board there with that double. Then Danny Jansen singles to center field. Smokey comes in to score. Great to see Danny Jansen continuing to hit well. Then Billy McKinney singles to right field. Hey, we got 2 on here. It's a 10-5 game. You got runners in the corners. Who knows what can happen here? And then Brandon Drury at the sacrifice fly. Danny Jansen comes in, and it's a 10-6 ball game. But it really doesn't mean a whole lot. Then an infield single to 3rd from Eric Sogard. McKinney moves up to 2nd. We have runners at 1st and 2nd now. And then on an error by Rafael Devers, McKinney moves up to 3rd base. Error. Errors come back to kill you. And they did for Devers in this situation because they bring in Barnes to look to kind of like, put out the fire and everything. But then a pass ball by Sandy Leon moves up Sogard to 2nd base. Again, these mistakes come back to haunt you. And then Freddie Galvis hits a little chopper right through the middle into center field for a base hit. Both runs come in, and it's a 10-8 game. Tying runs at the plate, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. flies out to end the inning. That's really how the game finishes. They go 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 9th inning, and that was it. But you know what? As much as I can be angry, and the pitching absolutely sucked, Trent Thorne, guys, look, he's looked great at times. He's looked really bad at times. That's what happens with young pitchers, right? You look at him in that Baltimore game; he was awesome. In that one start against Boston there in June, he went 6 1/3 of 2-run ball, and we're thinking, man, he's doing pretty damn good. But then he goes out there today, and then in his last outing against Boston, and they rocked him both times. When Trent Thorne is throwing quality strikes, he is unhittable. You look at today, he wasn't finding the strike zone, and when he was getting crushed. That's a problem. Now, Sam Gaviglio didn't fare much better. He went an inning in the 30 with 3 hits, 5 runs of his own. He walked 3 guys. So bottom line, in the first 2 2/3 innings, the Jays walked 6 guys. You just can't do that against a really good offensive team. You know, then Joe Biagini goes an inning in the 3rd, gives him a couple hits, but that's about it, and gets a couple strikeouts. And then Edwin Jackson comes in, and we're all like, well, the game's pretty much over, might as well throw him in there. The guy goes 3 shutout innings. 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, strikes out 2, and walks 1. He wasn't terrible. His ERA dropped from 12.43 to 11.12. Well, there you go. That's getting back to all-star level. No, I'm kidding. I really am. But it's kind of good to see Edwin Jackson go out there and actually pitch okay. You know, then Derek Law goes a clean inning and strikes out the side in the 9th. Or sorry, in the bottom of the 8th inning. So, look, pitching-wise, we know what this team is. Well, ideally, we don't know. I think that's the point. Offensively, I think we're slowly starting to see things. Look, when you score 8 runs in a ball game, you should win. When you give up 10 runs, you are almost always going to lose. Offensively, what do we see today? Well, Eric Sogard and Freddie Galvis led the way at the top of the lineup. Sogard went 3 for 5 with a run scored. He continues to play really well. He's hitting .302 now on the year. Great job for Sogard. Freddie Galvis 2 for 5 with a couple RBIs, obviously in the 2-run single and the run scored. He's hitting .269 as Freddie Galvis. He's having a great year as well. And then Lourdes Gurriel Jr., guys. All right, we're gonna wait a second and talk about him. He went 0 for 5 again today. And I know people are going to say, well, you know, he'll get hot again. I get that. But I'd rather a guy be consistently good than red hot and then absolutely ice cold. I get it. We've seen Lourdes Gurriel Jr. when he's red hot, and, man, you cannot stop the guy. But when he goes cold like he is right now, since the All-Star break, he's 2 for 17. And one of those hits, at least, was an infield single in the last game against the Yankees. He just hasn't looked the same. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just timing, if it's just whatever the case, you're playing some really good teams. I don't know what it is. Because Vladdy's having the same issue. Ideally, there's 5 years difference between the kids, but there's something going on with Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Now, I'm pretty sure he'll find a way to get out of it at some point. But when you're a great player, there's a difference between it being a good player and a great player. Good players play well, like what we're seeing from Gurriel, but then they have those large slumps, and then they get hot again. That's great. But the great players, they get hot, they stay hot, and they have maybe a little scuffle here, and they get right back to being hot again. They do not have prolonged slumps. Now, I'm not saying Gurriel Jr. is a prolonged slump, because it's really not. You know, you go back to him, and you go back to July 1st. You know, since really the calendar turned, he just hasn't been the same, really. Now, again, that can change at any point. He can go out there today and go 3 for 4, and we're not even talking about it. But for Gurriel, you know, since that July 1st, we went 3 for 4. He has 5 hits. You guys can do the math about what his batting average is if you want to go back and look at his stats. He has 5 hits in those games since July 1st. It's not a lot. That's why his batting average has dropped to 288. Still very good. But again, you're seeing that decline right now from Gurriel. So how can he stop that and get right back on the upward trend again? We're going to have to wait and see. How's Vladdy going to get him? He had that prolonged slump, but again, he's a 20-year-old kid, so you expect something like that to happen. Now, how's he going to kind of get back on the rails and get going again? I don't know. Kevin Biggio went 1 for 5 in the ball game, had a run score in the game. Randall Grichuk has been swinging the bat pretty well lately. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI there today, hitting .238 on the year as Randall Grichuk. And Justin Smoak 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run scored on the ground rule double from Smokey, and then he had a sac fly as well. Or sorry, it was an RBI ground out. And then Danny Jansen, guys, like we talked about, continues to play really good baseball. He went 1 for 4 today, yeah, but he scored 2 runs, and he had an RBI. He's hitting .219, raised batting average, 1 spot. Good to see for Danny Jansen. Billy McKinney, since, like I said, being recalled, he goes 2 for 4 in the ballgame with a couple RBIs. Couple runs scored, obviously the 2-run shot that he had, and he scored one more other time. So it's good to see for Billy McKinney there today, and Brandon Drury goes 1 for 3 with an RBI to round out the lineup for the Blue Jays, all right? So look, it's not a great ball game, all right? It's not very good, but you got to move on from it. You just can't dwell on it, because if we're dwelling on a game like this for this Blue Jays team, you're going to have a tough time. All right, so let's go down to the Buffalo Bisons here, and they lost 9-7 in extra innings there today to the Charlotte Knights. And positives, Bo Bichette went 2 for 5 in the ball game with a run scored. Great to see there. Dalton Pompey played in the game, was 0 for 4 with an RBI, but it's good to see him back up there in AAA, and hopefully maybe he's a September call-up or something for this team, because it would be really nice to see him finally get the opportunity, maybe to get a legit chance here with the big leagues to end the season. I don't know what we're going to see when it comes to that. Go down quickly to the AA New Hampshire Fisher Cats. And Forrest Wall 1 for 4 with an RBI. 2 RBIs and a run scored. Good to see for him. Santiago Espinal 1 for 4. Logan Warmouth 1 for 4. And offensively, there wasn't really a whole lot going on. Pitching-wise, Justin Dillon went 7 strong innings of 2-hit ball. But again, his ERA even after that start is still almost 5. So he's having a rough year, and age-wise, he's kind of up there as well. So it's not a guy you want to keep an eye on, I guess, when it comes to the minor leagues. The Dunedin Blue Jays did not play today. I think they had a rainout today, or did they not play? They just don't play today. So that's just that. We'll go quickly to the Lansing Lugnuts. And speaking of the Lansing Lugnuts, yesterday we talked about Eric Perdino and him in that start. I don't know how many innings we talked about in that video. But he ended up going 5 shutout innings, dropping his ERA to under 2 down there in Lansing. I think it's only like 3 starts or something. But again, it's very, very low. The kid's 18. We're seeing guys like him. We're seeing guys like Nate Pearson. If you guys follow Kendall Williams on Instagram, you'll see he did a Q&A there. And you see one of the questions was kind of, well, if you've played, how's the season going so far with the Gulf Coast League Blue Jays? How are you doing so far if you've played at all? And his reply was his opening day, his debut is going to be next Tuesday. So for all you guys thinking about, well, where's Alek Manoah? Where's Deshaun Brown? Where are these guys? Well, sounds like they're going to be starting to get into the mix very, very soon. So it's good. It's very, very exciting. And Nate Pearson went 3 great innings yesterday. Gave up 1 run. I think it was a home run he gave up, but that was it. Dropping his ERA like 6 points or so. So that's good, positive things for Nate Pearson as well, because he pitched in the Futures game, and he was injured before then. So it's good to see him come back and throw 3 good innings there for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats there yesterday. Now let's go down to the Lansing Lugnuts here. Obviously, Otto Lopez, again, a guy to keep an eye on here. We've talked about that new regime, right? We know about the Vladdy, the Bo. We know about all those guys, that regime. But also down in the very minor leagues of the Lansing Lugnuts, there's a big group coming up with them. Otto Lopez, guy's like 19 years old. He's hitting .299 down there in A-ball. He was 3 for 5 today with a run scored and an RBI. Keep an eye on this kid. We've always talked about Gabriel Moreno, the young catcher. He went 1 for 5 with a run scored today. He's hitting .299. And we all know about Griffin Conine. Got some great numbers for him. He was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a walk. He's hitting .309 down there in Lansing. Great to see there. And Hagen Danner went 2 for 5 with a run scored. Still only hitting .188 though on the season. All right. And we'll go down to the Vancouver Canadians really quickly here. And speaking of draft picks and all that kind of stuff over the past few years, Adam Kloffenstein, 3rd round pick for the Blue Jays last season, I want to say it was. I think it was last season for the Toronto Blue Jays. He has gone, where is he here? He's gone 3 scoreless innings down there for the Vancouver Canadians. 3 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts as of right now. And his ERA has dropped to 3.18. Once again, this guy's only 18, 19 years old down there in Vancouver with the numbers of 3.18 and improving. It's great to see for Jays young pitching. Look, you guys, I know we talk about the Jays needing pitching and everything. I get that. You have Nate Pearson. You've got Eric Perdino. You got Alek Manoah, Kendall Williams. Those 2 guys I think are going to be absolute studs for this team in the future. You have a guy like Adam Kloffenstein down here. And then you have the other guys like Yenzi Diaz. You guys have, Maximo Castillo, the guy that I'm really liking watching down there in Dunedin. Lots of great names down there in the minor leagues when it comes to pitching. However, they're not north of AA. So we kind of want to see them take that next step at some point. But where they are right now, They're looking really good. And the Bluefield Blue Jays did not play today. All right, next up, the Blue Jays play the Red Sox in Game 2 of the 4-game set there tomorrow night. It's a 7:10 first pitch at Fenway Park. Jacob Waguespack on the mound for the Blue Jays. Andrew Kashner on the mound for the Red Sox. The newly acquired Andrew Kashner on the mound for the Bo Sox there tomorrow night. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed the video, and you guys enjoyed the the few innings the Jays actually looked pretty good in. Smack that like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the minor leaguers that we've talked about here today. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Marcus Stroman, the whole trade rumors around that. Speaking of trade rumors, go nuts. Ken Giles, Marcus Stroman. Heck, you want to throw Aaron Sanchez in there? You by all means, go ahead. Daniel Hudson, go crazy, guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about who you think will be traded by the July 31st trade deadline and who do you think is going to stay and what all that crazy stuff. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Check out the main man Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, guys. Amazing guy. He posts awesome content. I hope he'll be back on the podcast really soon. Hope to have him on our podcast. Podcast. What is that? Podcast very soon. It's been very hectic over the past little while. We're slowly starting to get back into the groove of things when it comes to Evan and I with the podcast and everything. We're not quite sure as a timetable when that'll be uploaded next, but we hope to have Blue Jays Wave and Mo Buckets on the podcast very, very soon. All right, Twitter is down below. Follow up, send me a DM, guys. Do all that great stuff. And I'll talk to you guys Blue Jays edition like we talked about in Game 2 of the 4-game series against these Red Sox. They're tomorrow night, 7:10 first pitch at Fenway Park. Jacob Waguespack, Andrew Kashner is the starting pitching matchup there at Fenway. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys then.